before we get into batch and image processing, you should know how to run an action. And you don't always have to batch and image process. A lot of times people just want to run an action on 1 or 2 photographs, and if that's the case, it's easier to do it this way. I'm going to start by opening up a new photograph that has not been edited. We'll say OK. It'll load into Photoshop. Alright, so here's my original photograph, and you can go ahead and choose an action that you have written, and I'll click on it. Action again is Windows F9, or Windows Actions or Alt F9. So highlighting the action that I want to run, making sure that there's a check marks in this box and this little dot 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 deal turned on, and click right here if it's not. And I'll go down to play, and Photoshop is just going to run me through the steps here that I took to create the action. And I want to find my layers panel here. Oops. And if you have text, you want to click on the layer of text to have the action keep going, and then it'll adjust where that text is. So that ran on the action that I had on this piece, on this one as well. Now, despite shooting a series of photographs in the same lighting in the same place, sometimes you get different results depending on angle or different values of lights and darks and stuff like that. So it's a good idea when you're running your photos through a action to take a look at the photo, and then to take the existing pieces of the action, and then by double clicking on each layer you can modify your changes for each individual piece, for each individual photo. Let's go down to gradient map. We'll drop this down. So you can run your action first, and you saved a lot of time here by creating the action in the first place. So you can take a little bit of time to just tweak it perfectly to fit each photograph. There we go. Many times artists create an action with the intention of running it on multiple different photos, to dozens to hundreds, and Photoshop gives us a couple of easy ways to do that. The first being through batch processing. So go ahead and open up a document, one of your photographs. Go File, Automate, go to Batch. I'll click that. I want to use Miss White's actions. That was the folder I created. My specific action, I'd like to use sepia gradient 70%. So if you create multiple actions, you can choose between those. The source, a folder, I want to choose which folder my original photographs are in. So I'm going to go to Class, Class CHS, Art, Design Digital Art 2, Student Folders, and long trail here, but I want to choose my original images, and I'll say OK. I'm going to leave these alone. My destination, so this is the output. So once I run these through an action, where do I want them to go? I'm going to put them in a folder. I'm going to choose that folder by going through this same ridiculously long process. So I'll go into my student folder that's part of this class. And I want to save this. If this is the first one I'm doing, I want to have my images go into Action 1 PSDs. I'll show you how to run them through another set of steps to get them to JPEGs. And then I'll say OK. This is document name. You can change what you would like them to be called, but if they're going in a separate folder, I find that I don't really mess with this a lot. Stop for errors, that will have Photoshop tell you if there's a problem. So I always keep that checked too. So I'll say OK. Let Photoshop think. And then just keep pressing enter while each step. Come on, Photoshop. It's being a little bit slow. Well, each step of my action is saved. I want to note that in the version of Photoshop that you're working on, when you run your images through a batch process, you can press enter to say OK to each step. So what mine is doing right now is just clumping everything that I've done together in my action and not letting me edit any of it. But you're able to press enter after each action, and each part of the action goes in sequential order. You're able to do little edits like move your watermark or your signature around to a perfect part of each image. You're also able to edit each one of your steps a little bit more than you are here. So know that that's a possibility to get each image perfect before you save it as a PSD into the folder that you specified.